an issue?
Everybody puts in like all their hands up.
Who has an issue?
I have an issue, but I'm wondering if it might be better for addictions.
Tell me.
Do you need a demo for addictions?
Not really.
Okay, so mine's around food. I've done so much work around emotional eating, but I just feel like there's still a part of me that can really hook into that kind of addictive cycle with food, comfort eating, numbing out with food, and I've done it my whole life.
You're reading me too.
Oh,
It's identical. Did mom have it as well?
she's not necessarily comfort eating, but she definitely has had issues with food, has always been on a diet, self-image issues, anorexia. There's also another layer to this.
Then that's what I'm like,
Yeah,
out with it.
there's more, because I've started to connect the dots, but I just feel like I'm at kind of this resistance point with it. I feel like part of my weight is protection, and I've worked so much on trying to kind of get to that point of safety where my body just feels.
Why do you feel unsafe? What do you need to feel in order for you to know or think that you are unsafe?
Can you repeat that again?
Mm-hmm.
It's because part of me is dodging it. Like
I know, yeah.
Disassociated.
So what do you need to feel in order to know that you are feeling unsafe?
It's part of me just totally dissociates when you ask that.
Of course. It's designed.
Yeah. Can you repeat it one more time?
Of course, absolutely. What do you need to feel in order to know that you feel unsafe?
I don't know.
How do you know that you feel unsafe?
Anxiety,
Perfect. What did you feel before the anxiety?
fear,
Perfect. What did you feel before the fear?
uncertainty,
Of what?
myself.
Are you sure? It's okay, I'm not trying to trick you. I'm just...
No, I know you're not. Others.
Alright, so addictions! Ooh la la. Sarah, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate you being here. It's perfect. So, tell me, what is it that you want to address today?
Addiction to food, using food for comfort eating, using food to ground,
Got it?
using food to disconnect from other people's energies.
Good.
Comfort feels like a really strong.
Comfort. There
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
How long have you had this pattern? Like, when do you remember a time when it started?
For as long as I can remember. But there's one incident in particular when I was living in the States with my parents, and I think I'd only been about 3. And this is in part because Mum's told me the story, but I vaguely have memories of it myself. She'd had this goo-goo bar. It's called a goo-goo bar.
Okay.
It was this chocolatey bar, and she gave me a little bit and then put it in the fridge. But when she went into the shower to get ready, I went to the fridge and just ate the whole thing.
Okay.
And then when we were driving somewhere, then I vomited it all up in the
wow.
car in the back seat. But that's kind of the first memory I remember of going and just eating something and overeating, as opposed
Right.
to just really eating for the enjoyment or nourishment or
Right.
hunger. Yeah, so we were living in America at that point. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm.
Do you remember how you felt when Mom told you that it's being in the fridge? Did she actually tell you that you cannot have it? That she put a boundary there?
I don't even know if she verbally asserted the boundary. I don't think she would have even anticipated that I was going to go and ninja into the fridge and get it out. Because I was
Right.
like 3 or something, not very old, yeah.
But it sounds also like there was already an association that you made with whatever emotional stress that she was feeling at that age, eating the bar. But then also probably could have been so stressed at that age that her body just couldn't digest it and threw it up.
That was actually at an age, and it's just kind of popping in of where there was a lot of astral stuff happening for me at night. So it was like there were kind of spirits and stuff coming into my bedroom at night, and I would go to my parents and they'd come in and go, there's nothing here.
Because the vomiting of that, what I felt was because there was just too much stress in the actual body. The body just was like, you're overwhelming me, you ate too much, I'm not used to this portion, and out. Okay. Alright, interesting. Okay, and after that?
After that, I had bulimia as well, which is actually kind of no surprises based on the vomiting instinct that's there and that sense of relief. But there's always, and I've gone through stages in my life where it's been not
look
there.
at how
and
early,
there.
sorry for
Yeah,
interrupting,
that's okay.
but look at how early an association has already been anchored in for her for bulimia. Something that small, even at that age, can set off the trigger for bulimia. Because of the relief that she felt as a child when it finally came out, because she must have felt really sick, emotionally stressed, and then finally it came out and you feel that sense of relief. So ultimately it's not even the bulimia, it's not even a weight issue, it's looking for the emotional relief. And then associating the action with that relief. Okay. Okay, very good. So what else? How old were you when you had the bulimia?
That probably started more intensely in year 9. And I was actually saying to Bianca the other day, it was when I was at an all-girls school and there was a lot of stresses around that time.
Were you Catholic?
No, it was had a religious undertone, but it wasn't really religious. It was just a lot of girls all together. And as soon as I went to that school, I really missed having boys in that space.
Of course.
And so kind of stepped into, I guess, more of a masculine energy there anyway. But year 9 was kind of when stresses around school kicked in, wanting to fit in, and also worrying about boys and what I look like and all of that.
Got it. All right. So, and after that?
It was probably intensely up until my mid-20s that the bulimia was there, and then in my mid-20s was when I really kind of stepped into more of my healing journey, self-awareness, meditation, and everything that I've done. And that stopped. Like, I don't get to a point of purging and stuff now, but there's still definitely that need to comfort eat, which is kind of fluctuated on and off. Because I have had moments where I haven't had it, and then it's just like my body doesn't even know what to just absorb things going really well. And then it's like I go into sabotage mode.
Bulimia is also very much related to needing to feel boundaries. Because there was a lack of it. Does that resonate?
Absolutely.
Because I actually made a video on YouTube the other day about anorexia, but it ties in very, very closely with bulimia. So yeah, if anyone wants, you should highly recommend to have a look. Okay, got it. Okay. But what's interesting for me is that when we talked earlier, before we started, is that you mentioned Dad. Tell me just a little bit about Dad.
I love my dad, and there's no kind of there wasn't any issues, no trauma, that like visible trauma. He's a beautiful man that's quite emotionally unavailable.
Okay, so he was just more absent.
Yeah, he was more absent, and I think particularly at that time when we were living in Texas, he was so busy with working, and I was spending just every day with Mum, just us two.
Right.
And because Mum didn't have any friends or anything like that, it was like this really strong connection between the two of us. And I remember Dad being there in the evenings, but not really being there.
And you smoked as well?
When did I start smoking? I smoked as kind of a peer group thing. Actually, around year 9, it was like this cool kind of like, let's smoke.
Did Dad smoke?
Yeah, he did when he was younger, and then he stopped. But when my parents divorced, he started up again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's already a strong predisposition for that, but also there could have been an unconscious part of her that wanted to try to relate to that, to connect to that. Because I'm just looking, it's interesting because I'm probably comparing here a little bit, because with me, when I used to smoke 30 cigarettes a day. And so, but my dad was also a heavy smoker, but he was not the easiest person to connect to. And so I started smoking, and I realized I craved smoking because of the secondary smoking addiction that already formed when I was in the house. But it also gave me a feeling that I am connected to my dad in a safe and controlled way. And I also was very much into my masculine side, but it also drained me. I felt extremely drained because we're meant to be more in the feminine. There was no balance, it was completely out of balance. Then I would smoke in order to ground and to find that sense of masculine balance. And also for me, smoking was a boundary. The smoke around you, pushing, repelling people away, that's a boundary. So for me, that was boundary failures and overcompensating with smoking for boundaries.
And it's funny, I haven't smoked in years, but I started again just kind of subtly at the start of the year, on and off, when I started seeing a guy that was also a smoker.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's also, so smoking is your way of relating as well, perhaps. It's a question. It's just, I'm just curious. Could be your way of relating.
In that
to
situation,
people.
it was, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, right. Got it. And also to relate to dad in some way, maybe.
Yeah, because Dad wasn't actually smoking at all when I was younger, but he was an ex-smoker before that. So it's not something that I saw him doing.
Do you
when I was
know?
younger.
Do you know how old Dad was when he started smoking? Did he
Probably
also have
around that age.
Oh, here's why. Men who have any addictive behaviors or heavy medication or heavy drinking around the ages of 11 to 13 set an incredibly strong predisposition for their children to have that as well, because that's when the sperm starts to form. Okay? Very strong. Very strong. This is gold. So glad you knew that. Fantastic. And even if she didn't, I would normally in a session just take the person back to that or pretend that we are at that time and how that affected her. Okay? Alright, 9 years that, and then let's just also put here 9 years that. Oh, that was a big sigh there. Sorry. Woo, that's a lot to digest.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's amazing. It's so cool how quickly and fast you can zap something in the body if you just know where and how it's stored. Okay, perfect. This
I
is
was
very
just clarify, rather than that being me being 9, that would have been when I was in year 9, so it would have been 14.
14. Perfect. I thought you said year 9.
Yeah,
No,
that's what we call our classes here in Australia.
Oh, you Aussies.
Yeah.
I'm Aussie too, so I should shut up. Okay, fantastic. This is very good. Okay, so what I would like to do now is let's look at this part of you that every time when you want to have the food, have you noticed a pattern of emotions that you felt when you feel like you need to comfort eat?
Yeah, because I'm so aware of it at the moment. It happens in the evening when I'm by myself.
When you're alone?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it's never with others, always when I'm alone.
Okay.
Often it's after the end of a client day or when I've been around a lot of people.
Got it. And what's the emotion that you feel? I would like you now, let's do a quick exercise. Quick exercise. Think back to a day.
Do you want me to close my eyes?
Yeah, you can if you want. It's completely up to you, whichever way is comfortable for you. I would like you just to kind of see a big screen where you're going to see images being played back to you, like video clips. And I would like you to just look and get a feel and a sense for what's being shown to you when you think of a day when you had a lot of clients, you might have been to a mall or a concert, or there was a lot of people around you. And now, take your time. I'm just explaining to you what I want you to do. And then you're going to move back home, and then you're in that absolute silence. And you're alone. And take your time and just become aware of the emotional state that you move into when you're there on your own.
It's mixed because it's part peace, just having a space of, I'm finally by myself, but there's also a slight panic with it as well.
Perfect. Stay with that panic for me, okay? Stay with that panic. So if that panic had a voice, what would it say? I'd like to explore. Okay, let's explore.
I've been abandoned.
There we go. What else?
I don't feel safe. Very ungrounded.
I want you to stay with that abandonment. Whose presence or comfort are you looking for?
Dad's.
There we go. So here's the thing. So you're needing Dad, but who do you need Dad to protect you from?
Mum. Mum, but it's also that psycho can feel that astral energy around again.
Which one is creating the most stress for you? The astral aspect or mum?
It's both, because they've got quite a similar frequency in terms of the neediness that's coming.
Perfect.
And the overwhelm of their energy. Because while their energy's around, I don't know who I am. It's like my sense of self just gets totally fractured.
I want you to stay in that image. You know when you've been around someone and they've bombarded you so much, or like when you've gone to a theme park and you've been on a roller coaster the whole day, and then you get home and you lie in bed and you still feel like you're on that roller coaster. It's like the roof is still spinning a little bit. Or when you finally in that place of silence and you can still hear the remnants of that person just yapping and meowing and complaining or just bothering you. Do you feel that as a child that this astral experiences that you also had could also have been a remnants or a residue of feeling that annoyance with mom constantly and feeling completely helpless and getting away from it? It's almost like that inner dialogue becomes your outer dialogue.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect, you're doing really good. Alright. So what I would like you to do now is, interesting, so good. I would like you to, let's go to the white room. Are you ready? I'm going to do this with you, okay? What I would like you to do is, let's just imagine a big white empty room. Okay, so I'm not going to go to the food aspect now. I'm going to stay with the emotional healing first, because the food is just a symptom. We'll address that after I did this healing with her right now. Okay, Sarah, so what I would like you to tell me is, where in your body do you feel is the home? Do you feel the home for these emotions?
Tummy.
Perfect. Inside or outside?
Both.
Perfect. So when you connect to the aspect of this presence that's outside, whose face do you see or voice do you hear that you know?
Mum's, and it's enormous.
Got it. What does it feel like?
Totally overwhelming.
There we go. So she feels overwhelmed. Perfect. Got it. So, and also just that feeling inside the gut area. Inside. Okay. Whose face or voice do you hear or see that you know, or is it just you? There's no wrong or right answer.
It's mainly me, but there's just like all of these faceless faces as well.
Got it. Fantastic.
Guess like the whole world's anxiety's in there too.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Is it okay if we start the healing now? And when you're ready, you can gently come back to me. Very good. So what we did was, this was just a normal MAT, emotional healing. If this was a demonstration for emotional healing, this is exactly what it would look like. Now I'm going to bring in the addiction aspects. Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, that was massive.
Yeah, so just take your time. Yeah, like I like to just ask the client a little bit after the healing, how are you, how you doing? I like to get them to ask them what their experience was. And sometimes you're gonna get a client that's gonna sit there and go like, I don't know. That's okay. Trying to talk about something like, where do you get those boots? Where do you get those dress? Just get them to relax a little bit. Just give their mind and their body a break, just for 1 minute. So what was that like? I would love to know
It was
what your
amazing.
experience was.
It was amazing, and right at the end when we were kind of calling in the freedom and creativity, and I was back in my bubble, there was just all these beautiful fractals of light and so much available, like creative energy being available.
Nice.
And it was really interesting as we were working, just the different memories that were coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. My brain is still feeling a bit smushed.
Okay, that's good. Not a bad thing. That's very good. Perfect.
Yeah, but overall good.
Okay. So now let's just test this. Let's go back to the white room. Is that okay? So now what I would like you to do is, let's just go into that screen again where you had a busy day, you had a lot of clients, you were in the mall maybe, or in the busy streets, and there was a lot of things happening. And then you get home and then silence. And then see if you can tap into that part of you that wants to reach out to the form. But before you do, just give me a sense for how do you feel now when you're at home and it's quiet.
Yeah, there's part of me that's enjoying the stillness, and there's like part of me looking at the pantry.
Fantastic. I want you to tap into that part of you that's looking at the pantry.
Mm-hmm.
And now you want to go there, you want to see what's happening there, what food is there. And I would like you to reach out to whatever it is that you want to reach out to.
Chips and chocolate.
Fantastic. Sweet and sour.
Mm.
Pretzels and chocolate. And so you're reaching out to that. And just before you eat it, what do you emotionally feel?
Lost and overwhelmed.
There we go. And so what does the food give you emotionally that you cannot feel or access on your own?
Comfort.
What else?
Feeling full within myself. Complete.
Got it? What else?
Safety.
What else?
Entertainment.
So what would you have to feel in your life that you don't want to feel if you didn't have the entertainment?
Loneliness.
Got it. What else?
Boredom.
Mm-hmm. What else?
There's a bit of like apathy and depression.
Mm-hmm. What else?
There's also wanting to disconnect from me.
That's very normal, because remember, when we're in the physical body, the body is causing and creating all these emotions and feelings as a reaction to our environment. So we start associating our body with pain. And that's why people have a lot of self-destructive behaviors. It's self-punishment, but it's also to create that belief from the way that they feel, because they feel like you can't escape the body. It's there. So we look at coping mechanisms outside of ourselves to numb that, to escape from that. So it's like a love-hate relationship with your body.
Absolutely.
But we also associate then that with pain, the very thing that's meant to create your experiences for you. Got it. Okay. So with the addictions, then you do the emotional healing, and then we're just going to do some acknowledgements here. You can add it there just after step 7. You can just write in there, add addiction steps. That's where you can throw it in there. Okay.
Can we add wine in to the tap?
Yeah. Yeah, so there's food and wine. Perfect. So now, I'm just going to feel. Perfect. Yeah, that's good. Just shake it off. Nice. how do you feel?
Yeah, good. There's like this little boiling cauldron in my womb now, just full of creativity.
Nice. Would like you to go back to that room where you're going to see yourself now after a long day with clients and busyness and people, and suddenly you're in that silence. Just let me know, what does that look and feel like?
There's more of it, excitement actually. It's like, yay. More freedom.
How do you feel when you look at the pantry?
Yeah, I wasn't even looking at it until you mentioned it.
Oh,
I was
very
actually
good.
looking outside.
Beautiful. And how do you feel when you open the pantry door?
Neutral.
Fantastic. Now, very important part. Food, specifically wine, because she said wine. If it was beer, I would be focusing on beer. But we just acknowledge the difference between her identity and the collective consciousness of people that's addicted to wine, because it almost becomes an entity that has a life force of its own.
Yeah.
And if you can relate to that, then you can unconsciously tap into that. Okay? Is that okay?
Definitely.
All right. Whew. How was that?
Oh, wow, really good.
How do you feel?
Yeah, good. It was right at that end part, just this absolute liberation of really being able to connect to myself without anything external.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a lot happening there.
Yeah. And there was even stuff that I hadn't mentioned of like having years of just partying and taking lots of drugs and all
Yeah.
for exactly the same reasons.
So I can see that in the master cell, yeah.
Yeah. You can see everything. Yeah.
And you did amazing.
Thank you.
But how do you feel?
Relief, actually.
Good.
Yeah, I feel like I've been carrying this around for such a long time and have been working on it for such a long time and not really getting into the real depths of that separation.
This demo was fantastic.
Mm.
So good.
Very good.
So we kind of nailed the emotional healing, and I showed you how to work with addictions as well. You just throw it in there at step 7. Perfect. Are you ready to integrate?
Yes, please.
Are you sure? You sure you're lying?
No, no, no.
Okay, perfect. Just make sure that people listen to me while I say that. Because that by listening, you're like, yeah, of course I'm lying. I'm like, okay, you're not listening. It's just a joke to see if people are paying attention.
Yeah.
Very good. Fantastic. Let's do that. When you're ready, you can gently come back to me. Just be mindful when you work with people with addictions and it's about sugar or sweetness or something that's in there. Be mindful not to get caught up with, where in your life did you lose joy? Where do you need more sweetness? Go play with the fairies. Like that is just symptoms. You're going to sit there for hours and hours and hours. It's more rather, what is that sweet chocolate giving you emotionally that you cannot feel or access on your own? Bring it right home to the emotions. Bring it right down back home to the limbic system. Very good. How do you feel?
A bit dazed, but good.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank
Good job.
you.
Good job.